You can't get any more simpler than this. Centipede is one of the most iconic arcade games from the 80s, alongside Pac-Man and the original Donkey Kong. It was created by Atari and was developed by Donna Bailey and Ed Logg. Donna Bailey was also at the time one of the few female programmers in the industry who went on to program alongside Lodge designing the game to create one of the most successful arcade games of the golden era. So I think that's pretty rad.
Help! Somebody call an exterminator!
It would see many re-releases as a part of collections for practically every system under the sun. Despite this, Atari would attempt to recreate Centipede in 3D, with Centipede on the PS1 in 1999, which based on its review scores, didn't turn out all that well. Then, there was Centipede Infestation, released on the Wii and 3DS in 2011, only in the US, as the European release was cancelled for whatever reason. I only knew of this game through Nintendo Power, and that was it. It just disappeared into the gaming ether, as you barely will find anyone talking about this game nowadays. Hell, who even made this game anyways? Oh shit, Wave4 did it? This shouldn't surprise me, as Wave4, despite being best well known for the likes of Shantae and their other original IPs, they've made a hell of a lot of licensed games, or developing games for other franchises like Silent Hill, Double Dragon, River City, and even Advance Wars for Nintendo. Even then, some of the licensed works ended up being pretty good. I question though how they managed to pump out so many games within a short span of time. Seriously, in 2011 alone, there was the aforementioned Centipede Infestation, but there was also SpongeBob SquigglePants, Mighty Milky Way, Mighty Flip Champs DX, Mighty Switch Force, Blood Rain Betrayal, Aliens Infestation, and the handheld versions of Thor God of Thunder, and Happy Feet 2, the video game, like goddamn. I do find it interesting though that Atari, 13 years after Infestation's release, would get Wave4 to create Yars Rising, a game based on another Atari IP, Yars Revenge, which the original game was released around the same time as Centipede was in 1982, and there's even less information on it than Infestation. The fact that this happened twice is something, I tell you. I'm only looking at the Wii version, as I never played the 3DS version, and based on gameplay footage alone, it seemed to be just the same game, just on a handheld. Alright then, let's get into and talk Centipede Oh, there's a missile command code inside. And, there's no code. Let's just get on with the game already. We open with our main lead, Maximilian Riot, the Bug Slayer, doing what he knows best, exterminating some bugs. The world has gone to ruin all thanks to a bomb destroying much of the environment, causing the insects to mutate and overrun the world. While running away from a horde, Max runs into a woman he accidentally spills some bug guts on. She introduced herself as Macy Chambers, a gardener. Max offers to protect her while she tends to her gardens on the way to her home. Free of charge, of course. We do get some bits and pieces of the two, like how Max used to live with his father and brother, his father being a part of the Missile Command. Wait, is Missile Command canon in this universe? Were the bombs in that game the reason for all this? I mean, probably, I don't know. Macy and her mother used to tend gardens together until her mother just disappeared one day, and it was never explained. To get this out of the way, the plot is pretty thin. That's not a bad thing, as I do like the banter between Max and Daisy, but if you're expecting anything grander, you're not going to get that here. The graphics themselves are fine. I don't think they look bad for the Wii. I like some of the environments, even if they start to blend together after a while, and it runs at a consistent 60 FPS, so that's all good. Anime cutscenes are sprinkled about, though the quality of the animations can range from fluent to looking like a storyboard animatic, and it tends to shift in quality, even in the same cutscene, which feels really sloppy and rushed. Like, I'm not sure how much money went into creating these cutscenes, but they just don't look good. The soundtrack is pretty good stuff, though. Composed by Jake Kaufman, who was Wave4's go-to composer for the longest time, and he doesn't disappoint here. It gets that blood pumping with some good bops, unless you're the case where the dubstep gets to be too much for my liking. Alright, let's start killing some bugs. It's a twin stick shooter, though wouldn't it be considered stick and IR pointer in this case with the Wiimote and nunchuck? Nah, that doesn't sound right. The Wii, I always say, is the best when it comes to aiming a gun or whatnot in a video game. You get the most accuracy with it. In a game like this, it's a godsend. However, if you want a more traditional control scheme, there is classic controller support, which is fine, it works well, but I'd rather just use the Wii Remote and Nunchuck in this case. Killing bugs is the name of the game, of course. Max has a standard pea shooter by default, and while it's effective at taking out bugs, they're not as powerful as the temporary guns that can be dropped. You only hold 4 types on you at a time, but they can be upgraded once to dish out even more chaos. Machine guns, flamethrowers, cryo guns, dual lasers, shockwaves, acid, and even a goddamn nuke. You lose them however you get hit, so you can't be reckless with them. They got the gunplay down just right, and it feels incredibly fun just to slaughter whatever comes your way. There's a stomp you can perform to push back some bugs or interact with certain objects, but I didn't find myself using it all that much outside of progression, as the guns I feel do a more effective job. But I did wish the indicator for when the stomp has recharged was more pronounced than the tiny circle that's underneath your character. If you need some extra help though, certain bugs will drop plant turrets upon death, which become incredibly useful for the more frantic fights. You're gonna need them too, as some of the later stages can be pretty chaotic, especially towards the end with the final stages where they start throwing everything including the... Oh, they already made the joke for me. I wouldn't say it's too hard per se, but if you are wanting more of a challenge, there are multiple difficulties. Hell, if you get a friend of one, there's 2-player co-op. You can select alt outfits for Max, or even play as Macy and... Who are you? This is Rivet. No, not that Rivet. He just shows up towards the latter half of the game where after Max is separated from Macy, and it's never explained who he is. I'm guessing it's the ghost of Max's brother, as they have some sort of history with one another, but as soon as he's introduced, he just disappears and is never seen again, so... Okay, I guess. Let's just get out of these caves. Oh, holy shit!
The giant enemy spider.
Right, the game likes to spice up the gameplay sometimes by tossing in either a boss, which I do think are a pretty nice challenge in this game, or with a different objective like defending Macy with a slow, stationary turret that I never used. For a game where movement and quick aiming is important, these feel utterly pointless. The ones where you have to stomp with certain objects to proceed can take a while thanks to the slow charging rate of the stomp. I mean, stages themselves don't last more than 5 minutes at most. I think these are some of the worst in the game. I do like the ones where you have to manage your air meter by shooting certain bugs to drop pods to refill them, which is a nice twist on the gameplay formula, even if there's only 2 stages like this in the whole game. Before leaving the cave, Max finds a locket in the lair of an alpha centipede that Max named Snoot. Snoot used to be Max's only friend in the wasteland after losing his family, but after some time, Snoot grew in size, becoming more hostile towards Max, and now Snoot has been hunting down Max for a long while. Max does find Macy tied up in a spider web. After killing the spider, Max unties Macy, and the two finally return to Macy's home. Max shows her the locket he found in the caves, and Macy is shocked to discover it's the same locket her mother gave her before she disappeared. In a rush, Macy and Max hurry back to the caves to hopefully find her mother. Max fights off Snoot in his lair, killing him before it can kill Macy. The two embrace one another while the plants grow back, ending with a post-credit scene of a woman's hand holding a photo of Macy when she was younger, so I'm guessing her mother is still alive. We never got a follow-up to explain this, so that's cool, I guess. That was Centipede Infestation, and you know what? I was pleasantly surprised by it. I do think it's a good one. It's not something I always say is an immediate must play, but if you get like 3 hours to spare and you're in the mood for slaying some bugs, I think this would be up your alley. Secondhand copies aren't that expensive to get, or you can get them the other way. I'm not judging. Well, I've been Sonicman, and I thank you for watching. Have a good day, or night, or whatever, and take care. Yes, I know I said I was going to cover Epic Mickey 2 next. It's still happening. I just wanted to cover this one game no one talked about because I just felt like, okay, see ya, bye.